It is April 4th. Happy Easter 2021. Lesson 155. I will step back and let him lead the way. So, if you've gotten to this point, and now you have become one of those that have crossed to the other shore, or living in the world but not of it, okay, you're becoming happier, right? You can see it in your eyes, and this is part of the awakening, okay? After you do whatever you did to get to this point, you're now making the conscious decision to be happy or not. The happier you are, the more you feel joy, which is what you are. You're the experience of that much. So we come here to graduate, basically. This is the most difficult thing that we can do in terms of trying to find salvation, in terms of growth, okay? Because if, we were somewhere else, right, higher dimension, the incentive to grow is not, right? There's a reason why we came here. So when we come here, right, and we avoid reality, it's because we want the world. When we want the world more than we want imperturbability, that's when illusions start to manifest, right? It's like the oasis. So we put truth behind these illusions, whatever this, veil, if you want to call it that, right? This is the matrix. It creates, right, everything beyond that. When you put truth in front of illusions, right, you move forward, right? Because basically what you're trying to do is get in the present, right? Because everything is just a moment in time, okay? This already is chopping up in seconds. You're experiencing it as it's coming in. And when you take a step back, you allow truth to be perceived as it is, okay? Step back and let it lead the way is what the lesson for today is. I will step back and let him lead the way, okay? For I would walk along the road to him. So basically we're allowing ourselves to create the space, the presence, to be connected to God, if you want to call it that, Jesus, okay? Right, so the world is not real, right? That's why the unmanifested is trying to be realized through you, if that makes sense. And when we come in, right, there's continuous belief, but there's a renounce, right? Or people just choose nothing but the world, if that makes sense, right? So you'll see this as people think life is a sacrifice, or there's a deprivation, right? Like you have to suffer or you have to sacrifice. That leads to nowhere, right? It always leads to the same point where you are realizing what you are, right? So even if you got down to the point of despair and rock bottom, you're always shown what you are. So that's why the suffering is an illusion, because when you accept that as a reality, when you accept that as part of your life, then it could be that you're avoiding, but most likely it is. But you are realizing that there's something beyond that, okay? And that's why they say, like, now we're part of the ministers of God. So you need to seek a teacher that perceives, right, the madness, like how everybody can be at fault, how we all fail. As long as our heart is connected with God, then we are, right, part of his, right, and still go beyond illusion to the simple truth in them, okay? You can't sin. There is no wrongdoing unless you deliberately are choosing to do that, right? There will be patterns, and even if you got to that point to self-realization and try to drop down as much as you can, like, you didn't know any better, right? You're just trying to see what was going to unfold, because now you're trusting the universe to tell you exactly what it is that you need to learn, right? Every moment's designed for the evolution of your consciousness. So as you are now receiving that as a gift, then you say, okay, moving forward, like, what am I going to see myself as, right? Being tempted. Sometimes tempted to work ahead of truth and let illusions be your guide, right? Rather, because you are provided, your brothers follow you with certainty in your purpose of truth, something they can identify, something they understand to lead the way. So from my experience this weekend was kind of, going out with the guys, but I am still coaching them, right? I just wanted them to understand who I was and what I believe and how that is being reflected in my own creed, right? Because they can relate to me, right? They can relate that, people rise and fall as quickly as anybody, right? It's a consciousness, just like, a politician can be at the top of whatever food chain and then loses everything, and he's fending as if he were an animal, right? If he were a caveman, right? So that's how high paradigms can go up and down because of the necessities that you need at that moment. So when you allow yourself to be given that which you need to satiate in terms of yourself, then you're allowing yourself to be as satisfied as possible. Like, you're experiencing yourself like there's nothing in the outside world that is allowing you to not feel the experience of, right, being within yourself. So that allows you to, all right, this is what I'm experiencing, and then I have to move forward, right? Because now you're living in the world, but not of it, okay? You're allowing yourself to see, okay? And that's really what it is. Like, you just create the space so you can actually see and then experience, and then taking the moment to respond properly, because now you're understanding where you're coming from and where you're going, because now you're trusting this self to make the right decisions for you.